Welcome back to Bedhaven, the safe place for safe plays. It is major week. We got the PGA Championship at Valhalla. We're going to recap here on our week at the Wells Fargo. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this because we didn't have a great week.
That's terrible.
Yeah, just in simplest terms, we just had a tough week. The picks went like this. First round leader, I had Matthew Pavone. Chandler had Akshay. I think Pavone was maybe dead last. And not only first round leader, he finished second to last in the tournament. So that was nice. I don't know where Akshay was, but I think he was
middle-ish.
Yeah.
He was like 30th or something like that after round one.
Yeah, favorite play for myself was Wyndham Clark, who didn't do good again. Defending champ at Wells Fargo, couldn't get it going. And,
bad week for him. Kind of a shockingly bad week. I would have expected him to do better.
Yeah, I think back to back now he's had some struggles. But yeah, Chandler, you had Sahith Thigala, who didn't have a terrible week, and then he shot 82 on Saturday.
And I think he shot like 62. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but he shot like a really good number one day. I think it was either Friday or Saturday.
He shot 65, I think.
He got like all the way back up in contention just to blow it again.
Yeah,
so,
and
weird week for him.
Yeah, I don't know. You saw big scores out there, and I think most of them came on Saturday. I remember seeing a lot of guys during round 3 just kind of implode. And I can't remember if he had that 11 over. I think that was the third round. But top 20 play, mine was Tony Finau. I think he finished T52. Chandler had Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Not good.
Not good either. I think he flashed a little bit on Sunday, maybe.
Yeah, he did. He shot one of the better. I mean, he was all right. It was like 3 under or something like that. It was okay.
And then my long shot to win was Adam Hadwin, and yours was Adam Scott. Adam Hadwin played 3 rounds at even par and then 1 round at 8 over. So I didn't hate that play until I saw him shoot 8 over on Saturday. But again, you saw a lot of guys kind of do that on the Saturday round. So I'm not taking that too much into accountability here.
Adam Scott was somewhere in the middle.
T29, I think, was his finish there.
He was fine. But again, he's been doing that like the last couple of weeks. He's just been very average.
And
his price is kind of average. At least it has been. Except for maybe 2 weeks back, he was one of the higher price guys.
I mean,
it's been okay.
I don't know if we'll get down to, we're going to get into our picks here shortly, but you could probably play an Adam Hadwin or Adam Scott top 40, top 20 this week, something like that.
Yeah, his pricing is somewhere in the middle again. I don't know. He's got to show something. He's got to show a spark.
All right, so we are in Louisville, Kentucky this week. Not us, but the tournament is in Louisville, Kentucky at Valhalla Golf Club, a very, very long, very tough golf course, and I think it's going to be playing over 7,600 yards. I've seen some flyovers. This course is a beast. I don't know how difficult it's going to play with the weather. It seems like it could turn into a situation where these guys the longer hitters hit it way out there and have receptive shots into the greens. I think that's, obviously on the table here if it doesn't firm up like they want it to. But this tournament is going to be very interesting to see what happens. We've got the LIV and the PGA back together again. I've been watching a lot of the pre-tournament footage. A lot of conversations with John Rahm this morning. I think that, he was on the course and he talked about wanting to, be supportive of the PGA, and then all of the commentators like doing the announcements for the pre-tournament the pre-tournament stuff on maybe Golf Channel or whatever, were ripping into him. I mean, we're still at this point where it's like, they're like, if you wanted to support the PGA, you would have stayed. And it's like, really, like, that's what we're doing now. Let's play golf. Let's do that. And to see Rory kind of do that on Sunday, where he just absolutely ripped the field apart. Maybe this could, set up for a nice PGA LIV showdown.
I would love that. And I think there's plenty of guys on LIV and plenty of guys on PGA Tour that are playing really well right now that it could turn into that.
Yeah. Another quick recap from last week. This, and I posted this on Instagram. By the way, a lot of the footage stuff that we do for the YouTube and now we're on Spotify again. Make sure you click the link in the description of this video if you want to listen to the Spotify version of this podcast. But The visual stuff is really hard. It makes editing a little bit more difficult. So I can't put the visual stuff in the YouTube right now. It's just too time consuming. So a lot of the stuff that you guys are wanting to look at, the boards and any kind of analytical stuff, is going to start going on Twitter and Instagram. So make sure you're following us there at the Bet Haven. That's our username across the boards. It makes it easy to find us. I picked Chris Goddard up to win the Myrtle Beach Classic on a free bet from BetMGM. That is about the only thing that we did right this week. I probably should have shared that with you, but it was such a last minute dart throw. There, other people were like, "Why didn't you say you were going to pick Chris Goddard up?" And I pulled it out of thin air. That's quite literally what
we can
happened.
just say it was lucky.
Yeah, and that's
okay though.
There was not no thought that went into the decision, but it was certainly not one that had a ton of research and development like we do for these tournaments typically. So I want to say that Chris Goddard is playing in this tournament. He made the field with that win. He's $5,700 on DraftKings. If you're looking to maybe ride a hot hand, he's had three decent finishes now. He was maybe in the mix at Zurich, I want to say, and then had a good showing at the Byron Nelson, and that's kind of where we didn't use Zurich for really anything that we've been doing lately, but did see a lot of his shots at Byron Nelson, and that was kind of one of the basically only thing that went into that decision. So I want to jump into the PGA Championship major week. We're back again with the major. We did pretty good at the Masters, I think. We had a decent run there.
Yeah, well, no, we did. That's where we hit Bryson first round, right?
Yeah, Bryson first round, and we had some other good. I had Max Homa top 40. Obviously, he finished tied for third, I believe. Mm-hmm. So we've had 2 tough weeks in a row here, and I think this is the week that we get back on track.
Yeah, you got to pick it up, dude.
Okay, Mr. Best Pick, Adam Scott, freaking T29. Yeah.
Somebody's got to lead the way, man. You spent 10 minutes talking about Pavone. We're going to finish second to last.
All right, listen. If you're going to play a guy this week, don't play Matthew Pavone. Actually, never mind. We're not even going to do that. All right, so let's jump into the normal format here. First round leader, favorite play, top 20, top 40. I'm going to let Chandler kick it off like he always does. We're going to go first round leader here at the PGA Championship. Big boy course. Who do you have this week for your first round leader?
So first off, I want to piggyback on what you were saying about the weather and the course. I think that it's actually going to be a lower winning score than normal PGA Championships because it's going to be a softer conditions. It's a long course, but they're going to get rain today. They're getting rain tomorrow. This is Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is going to be a beautiful day. Then Friday, Saturday, more rain. It's going to be very hard for them to firm up this golf course and make it harder. Therefore, I think the scores will be generally lower. So something to keep in mind. It's going to play a little bit longer, but it'll be easier scoring in general. Okay, for my first round leader, I'm going with the LIV captain himself, Jon Rahm.
Wow.
We're going 28-1 on DraftKings. His last 3 starts on LIV, 4th, 3rd, 10th, which it's LIV. It's kind of hard to quantify, like to transfer that into PGA terms on what is a 4th on LIV. But he's playing good, and one of the things that really gets me is he had a big Masters letdown. I think that he was definitely one of the favorites in the Masters and just did not play to his
Did he miss the
potential.
Cut?
Dude, I don't even know.
He was a non-factor.
I think he might have made it, but again, I think he did make it, but he was very whatever, 30th place finish or something like that. That's at least how I'm remembering it.
I'll pull it up.
I remember as a letdown though. Anyways, Jon Rahm, key stat for me this week. Like I said, it's going to play longer. 3 of the 4 par 3s are going to play over 200 yards. A lot of shots are going to be coming in from 200 to 225 yards. Jon Rahm is number 1 in this field on strokes gained approach from that distance from 200 to 225. Huge number. And tougher courses, you're going to need to hit greens. Greens, fairways, greens. Jon Rahm is number 2 in greens and regulation percentage in this field. Another huge key stat. And we've seen it over the years that Jon Rahm can heat up with the putter. I mean, he can get hot. He can shoot a low number. It doesn't matter the course. So Jon Rahm, 28-1 DraftKings. He's my guy.
T45 at the Masters, by the way.
Okay, yeah. That's kind of what I remembered. He was very frustrated. It looked like he was pressing. He was so frustrated the entire tournament.
Well, defending champ and having left for LIV, coming back to a PGA, where I don't think he was received as well as he would have been had he stayed with the PGA. No. So maybe that had,
this guy wants redemption. I'm
And
telling you.
I agree. He probably is going to get it here.
He wants redemption. And Scotty coming off the baby, Rory coming off the divorce.
all right. So
Rom's the next in line. He could be the guy.
let's go ahead and touch on that real quick. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it. It is very interesting to me, you know, how information like that comes out when it catches, how every single social media or whatever is tweeting or talking about it. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, there's so much that goes into it, and everybody's like, oh, you know, he's coming off a divorce. He's not focused on golf. It's like, nah, the dude obviously didn't make the decision this morning when he woke up.
Exactly.
And he just won Wells Fargo.
Exactly. The take for everybody that I've seen, like you're talking about, has been, okay, Rory's now single and motivated. Well, divorces typically don't just happen overnight.
Right.
So this has been something that's been ongoing for probably a while now. Maybe part of the reason he went down to Louisiana and played a tournament that we never would expect him to play in. Anyways, he won, and he turned around and won again at Wells Fargo. That's when the motivation was. That's when the motivation was at its highest, when it was in private. Now that it's in the public eye, I don't think that this is going to go the way people are thinking.
Oh, you're thinking the opposite.
I'm thinking that Rory's going to have a tough tournament. He might miss the cut.
What?
I'm thinking that Rory, this is going to be a lot. Now that it's
Where's
on
the siren?
TMZ, it's going to be all the questions this week again, we're shooting this on Tuesday. From Tuesday, Wednesday, this is going to be a question that's going to be brought up to him quite a bit, something that he's going to have to think about, where before it was kind of in the back of his head, but it was more of a F you, I'm going to go out here and dominate, and nobody knows why. Nobody knows why I'm so extra motivated right now. This, right before PGA Championship, I don't think is something that he wants to have the public eye knowing about.
I honestly, like,
and that's like the opposite take of what most people are going to have.
That is very, I've seen like, okay, he's not focused on golf, but that really is irrelevant. That doesn't even make sense from a perspective of like thinking that this is all happening in this moment. It's like, no, there's obviously build up to this type of stuff.
This has been happening.
Yeah. So again, let's not spend too much time on this, but I also saw in 2014, Rory cut off his engagement with whoever he was engaged with. And let's just, I'll just pull it up real quick. Again, this is the last I'm going to say anything about this. But 2014, Rory went on this stupid run. And I only know this because I saw somebody talking about it as soon as all the news outlets, had.
I'll say this. When Tiger was in secret, running around, tapping at every event, he was balling. He was balling. He couldn't be beat. Then when it got in the public eye, people heard about it. People saw it.
That's actually
kind of when we saw the fall off of Tiger.
All right, listen, just real quick. 2014, Rory announces his split or his break off of his engagement. Tied for second at Honda Classic. Tied for 7th at Houston Open. Tied for 8th at Masters. Tied for 8 at Wells Fargo. Tied for 6 at the Players. Tied for 15th Memorial. First Open Championship. First World Golf Championship. First PGA Championship. Like
3 in a row.
Yeah, and somebody's obviously doing that as like satire, but
right,
it could mean something. Maybe not right now, but I kind of agree with the way that you're looking at it. But
and I'm such the guy that's like, this is always kind of my take as far as like a DraftKings play. I'm anti wherever the public's going. I tend to try and lean the other way to get an advantage.
Well, you got to find the
think
edge. Yeah.
Rory, we're talking back-to-back wins here, and now that this thing has come out, it's like Rory's going to dominate. He's in beast mode. He's going to go off. His ownership on DraftKings is probably going to be
25,
really high. Like Scotty coming off the baby. Nobody, well, I guess it depends on who you are, but nobody really loves to play Scotty on DraftKings or bet him because of his price. Again, it depends on who you are. But Rory's going to be, I feel like, the number one choice at the top of the board this week. And if I can go elsewhere, like I will be going to Jon Rahm. I think that that's a good play for me, but I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Well, again, yeah, this is it's interesting and it's relevant. I mean, it's relevant to what we're talking about. So, but all right, back to the real stuff here.
Who's your round one? We got Pavon.
No, first round leader, Matthew Pavon. Just kidding. I might play him just because, again, I'm going to go back to the narrative of like when I pick a guy, he screws up, and then I'm off him the next week, and he does really good. Anyways,
could happen.
My first round leader this week is going to be Ludwig Aubert. So there's been kind of mixed reports. So Ludwig was supposed to play in the Wells Fargo. He WD's pre-tournament with a knee injury. We had a tweet come out yesterday, a guy out during the practice round saying, Ludwig, after his first tee shot, grabbed at his knee 15 times between the tee and walking to his ball.
Maybe he had an itch. Maybe he got bit by a mosquito.
Who knows? But I've also seen boots on the ground reports coming from, saying that he looks immaculate. So I don't know what to do here.
He's a great looking guy.
Handsome guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do here. So I'm just going to pretend like he's not injured at all. And I'm going to attack him in a way that maybe if he does WD, it's after the fact, like not doing a tournament bet. Let's just see if he can put something together in the first round. You just talked about the weather and the conditions. One of the things that Ludwig has struggled with is his around the green game. If we're going to get softer conditions, to me, that's going to say, okay, these greens are going to be more receptive. So guys that, miss their approach or, if they hit it not to their exact spot, there's still a chance that it'll hold. And he won't have to be doing all these up and downs like he did. We saw him a couple times at the Masters. So I think, and the approach numbers that you brought up, 200 plus, that 200 plus bucket.
Yeah, 200 to 225. A lot of shots going to be coming from that distance.
Yeah, he's 26th on tour, not in the field. 26th on tour and approach from 200 plus and 22nd from 200 to 225. So when you kind of narrow down that number. Long golf course, he hits the shit out of the ball. So if it is going to play soft, he's going to have that distance advantage off the tee. And then hopefully his approaches can be a bit closer as they are going to these more receptive greens. Again, I'm not going to play him, top 10, top 20, whatever. This is going to be a first round leader bet, and that's going to be the extent of it. Hopefully he's able to stay healthy for the entirety of the first round and maybe put together a decent little score.
Did you say his number? What was his number?
I think it's 35 to 1.
Okay. A healthy Aubert, I agree, is he's a great golfer, and this course should set up well for him.
35 to 1 on DraftKings.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if he's healthy, I love it, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. And I've seen the argument like, okay, he just wanted to rest up and get the extra rest before Wells Fargo, but it's like you've got a younger guy kind of on a breakout. Typically, you're not going to see them WD from an elevated event that's free money, essentially. There's no cut, so any finish you get paid for. To see him WD makes me think that there's a legitimate issue, but I'm hoping that it's not anything that will hinder him from, even finishing the first round. So it's a risk. There is obviously a little bit of risk involved with that, but I think he's a good enough player, and I think I wouldn't say he wouldn't play, but I think he'll at least make it through the first round, even if he's struggling.
Yeah, we've got a couple guys in this field that are battling injuries or we don't really know the extent of. We don't know how bad they are. You've got obviously Aubert, you've got Zalatoris,
Hideki,
and you've got Hideki.
Yeah.
Those are the three that come to mind for me, and you don't really know. I mean, one of those guys probably going to end up in the top 10, and then maybe one of them will withdraw. I mean, you really don't know.
Well, and you can maybe use that to your advantage if you're trying to build, some ownership advantageous lineups or even these bets, man. I mean, Zalatoris jumped from, I don't know what he was at one point, but I'm sure it was like 40 to 1 if I had to guess to win the tournament. I saw him at 80 to 1 yesterday. I mean, that's just, I know he's, it's not like he's this big major winner, but he typically performs well. He's had a couple.
Yeah, he's a good big boy golf course player.
That's kind of his mold is these tougher, longer golf courses. That's where he seems to shine the most. So, all right, so those are our first round leaders. Let's jump into favorite play.
All right, so my favorite play this week is going to be a guy that the sentiment on him right now is that he's bad, that he is just a bad golfer and you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money. But it's going to be Victor Hovland.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Victor Hovland, 45 to 1 on FanDuel. Victor Hovland, like I said, the sentiment on him is that he's just bad now and that he's fighting it. And while I agree that he's been fighting it a little bit, he's down on 9,200 on DraftKings right now. And I still think he's going to be overlooked by everybody. Like, nobody's picking this guy. Last week at the Wells Fargo, he was kind of up and down. But one of the things that I noticed with him was his final round, he gained 5.2 strokes tee to green. That is a massive number. It beat the next guy in the final round by over a shot. He was also he gained a shot per round on approach. His putting was fine. His around the green was fine. It was all basically neutral. He finished, I don't even remember where he finished, somewhere in like the 20th range. He was kind of average. But I love that he was quietly gaining tee to green and quietly gaining on approach. That tells me that this guy can contend. He can do it. On top of that, he's the 11th best golfer in this field from 200 to 225 on approach, and he's the number 4 golfer in this field strokes gained off the tee. That is the 4th strokes gained off the tee is a huge number for me because, like I said, the sentiment on him has been that he's so bad right now. But that's this year. That's this year on the PGA Tour. He's number 4 strokes gained off the tee.
Well,
if he's so bad, he wouldn't be 4th in strokes gained off the tee. I understand that there's other parts of his game that have been kind of
yeah.
But to still be 4th and the sentiment on him being that he's just bad and he's lost it and he's fighting it, I don't agree with that. And I think that this is a great spot for him. He's another big boy golf course player. He loves it. Add a little distance, make it a little tougher. He's going to love that. Low ownership on DraftKings. Victor Hovland's my favorite play this week.
So to kind of touch on what you're saying about, yeah, okay. I think when you pit it against what he was last season and how he closed the season, I mean, he was arguably, he was the best golfer in the world.
It was him and Scotty that it seemed like every week those two were going to
And I would say he even had edged Scotty out based on the closeout.
Yeah, he was hot. He was making everything too with the putter. Like he was doing it all.
So yeah, the real issue is that he's battled with the swing, like his actual fundamental, how he swings the golf club, changing coaches and doing all this stuff. And he's always been a bad chipper. Well, if you look at what he did at Memorial, he was still struggling with his around the green when he won Memorial last year. I think Victor's the type of person when it's a really tight lie, he's like, that is when he's like, no, I don't want to do this. But you've got this fluffed up rough and this thicker rough around the green. I think he actually prefers that. A lot of these golfers do, to be completely honest. But he feels like he has a little bit more maneuverability with his club and how he can strike the ball to get it up and down. When the tight lies kind of come into play on those types of courses that have that, you've seen him struggle a little bit more. So I 100% agree. I think that he's not, obviously he's not bad. I think he finished T29 at Wells Fargo. He shot like 2 under on the final round.
Mm-hmm. He lost a little bit putting too on the final round.
Lost putting. I think he gained 5 strokes ball striking, which is kind of a big deal as well.
He was by far tee to green the best golfer round 4 at Wells Fargo, and nobody probably, well, I don't want to say nobody, but very few people probably realized that. It was a very sneaky 2 under kind of man round from a guy that was in the middle of the field. So I like it. He showed a sign. I just needed a sign. I needed something, and he showed me something. I think that he could be a great play this week. 45-1 too. I mean, that's a pretty big number for a guy of his caliber.
Yeah.
But even more on DraftKings. Even more for me on DraftKings. 9,200.
9,200 is just too cheap.
Is a great number at a guy that's probably going to be less than 10% owned.
Yeah. All right. Well, my favorite play is going to be a guy that I don't have access to a ton of stats on, and I'll let you guess why.
He's a live boy.
It's going to be Brooks Koepka.
Koepka.
Koepka. Yeah, I think Brooks is, again, I've been trying to get access to a lot of pre-tournament stuff, practice rounds and whatnot. Everything that I've seen come out is that Brooks is looking very good, looking ready and healthy, and his history tells us that when it's major time, he shows up. Didn't have the best Masters showing.
No.
I don't know what he finished there.
I feel like he was better than Rahm, but he also was
he was
fighting it.
Yeah, just didn't look fully comfortable. Sort of a similar situation though, that any of these live guys coming back to the PGA that were top dogs, not like these other guys that I'm not going to throw out any names out of respect, but the top players that were on the PGA when they left, they just weren't received, and I think that they're still figuring out how to deal with that. And we're still, as bettors, trying to figure out what it means when they perform well on live. We don't know how that translates to these PGA tournaments yet. I think Brooks' last live tournament he won, did he not?
Yes.
I don't know.
Won. I would expect a better showing from live in this tournament than the Masters. I think that the pressure is probably a little less, and you'll see guys like Rahm and, like you're saying, Brooks play better for sure.
I think live Singapore. Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, again, 3-round tournaments. We don't know how these guys are going to translate as they come back to the PGA events that are obviously 4 rounds, but shot 15 under in 3 rounds at a tournament. I think that's Australia. Yeah. So again, maybe Brooks has some raw motivation behind him as well, and doesn't like how he performed at the Masters. He shouldn't, but I think he's going to be a good contender this week, as he has in the past, obviously in the majors.
You like him more as a bet or more of a DraftKings play?
I think he's a little overpriced on DraftKings, all things considered. But let's see, what is he to win? I mean, he's 28-1. Oh no, that's first round leader. Tournament lines, Brooks. Damn, he's 16-1.
16.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you can get like a boost on a lot of these. I think Bet365 has a 30% boost on.
They do.
Yeah.
Also, another one that you guys need to be aware of is FanDuel. They have a $25 max bet
Insurance
on a win bet if they finish inside the top 20. So I would use that on a guy in that kind of mid range, somewhere around 20 to 75 to 1 would be where I would use that on. Because again, if they finish 15th, you get your $25 back.
Is it straight money back?
It is
As a bonus bet, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Okay.
as a bonus bet.
Well, that's always good. But yeah, I could see him being the perfect fit for that. I mean,
I would use that bet on somebody that you don't want to have like FOMO on, like somebody that maybe one of these injured guys that you're like, I don't know if this guy is gonna quite do it, something like that for me, anyways. But yeah, I think that's a good bet. FanDuel promo top 20, get your money back.
yeah, that's pretty solid because I think I've seen that before where it's like if they finish in the top 10, then you get.
I think ESPN Bet maybe did like a top 10 or a top 5 or something
Yeah.
for the Masters, and I was like, damn, that's like, you might as well just hedge. Like if they're in the top 5, like going in the final day, just like wait till the back 9 and see if you can hedge your way into these other guys that are contending for the win. That's usually what I do. But top 20, I mean, they could backdoor a top 20 on the final day after not even being in contention. So
Yeah. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Speaking of top 20s, let's just go right into that. Who you got for top 20 this week?
I'm going with Max Homa.
Love it.
Max Homa plus 130 on DraftKings. He is number 3 in the field from 200 to 225 strokes gained on approach. Again, a lot of the shots are going to be coming from that distance. And he gained 1.5 strokes tee to green per round at the Wells Fargo. He was one of the better ones in the field that week. He's just solid. Like, I feel like, I mean, I'm sure you remember the Masters. I'm sure you all remember the Masters, and he was right there. This is his next opportunity for a major. I fully believe that he's going to contend. He has been playing really well. Yeah, Max Homa.
I think his game sets up pretty good for.
The only thing I don't love about him is I think he's going to be popular on DraftKings, so I wouldn't necessarily get to a ton of him. But we'll see.
He's probably a good pick for some matchups too. Like, I don't know how often you do matchups, 3 balls. I don't know why that just made me laugh when I said that, but like,
You're such a child, and he can't say balls without. What a kid.
anyways, some of these 3 balls and and these head-to-head matchups. I'm actually looking at some right now, and I think he's paired. I want to say he's paired with
9,700 on DraftKings.
Let me see. I'm looking at the matchups now. I want to say he's paired. Yeah, he's paired with Brooks Koepka and Jordan Spieth, and he's second favored to Brooks. So you've got Brooks at plus 140, Max at plus 175, and Spieth at plus 205. I honestly like Spieth to maybe as far as a 3-ball matchup for the first round, because I think that's only round 1. I actually think Spieth would be a kind of a sneaky play.
Yeah, Spieth, it's worth noting, he is going for the Grand Slam here in this tournament. If he wins the PGA Championship, he's got the Grand Slam.
I think he's not thinking about that at all either.
No, well, I think that it's less of a topic than it normally would be. Like if Rory was going for, like if somebody a bigger name, like Spieth has not been playing great of recent, but yeah, to be honest, he's going to be my FanDuel promo bet. Top 20, get your money back. He's 75 to 1 on FanDuel. So that's going to be my $25. Hopefully he finishes top 20 at minimum, but a guy that could potentially boom and get the dub at 75 to 1 would be,
I think
would be
Spieth
nice.
is going to have a good week, but I'm not going to have a ton of him, but I'll sprinkle him in somewhere.
He's extremely risky. I mean, his numbers last week were very average again. Like there was nothing that was amazing, but there was nothing that was very wrong. So I don't know. He's one of those guys that can just pop. Like it could be literally out of nowhere. He could just pop, putter starts getting hot. So I don't know.
So the thing about Jordan right now is that he's got the wrist injury. He's got a ligament issue that he's been dealing with, and obviously we've seen kind of the struggles with the irons. His off the tee game right now though is absurd. Like he's hitting it long and he's hitting it pretty straight for the most part. And
over a half a shot around off the tee right now.
Yeah, so
in his last 36.
So I think that if he can find a way to just keep the irons in check, and hopefully the injury is not gonna mess with that at all. But
it's the irons for him right now. Like I said, half a shot.
I think he lost five strokes on approach during the final round of Wells Fargo.
Really? Okay, yeah. He's losing 0.3 on approach
not
per round.
That was a tournament number, by the way.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense because that would be a massive number. He's gaining a little bit around the green, and he's obviously gaining putting.
Yeah.
So again, there's nothing drastically wrong with his game, but there's nothing that's overly exciting either. I mean, I guess the off the tee stuff is pretty good. It's like 12th or so in this field. Yeah. He's fine. He's a wild card.
But yeah, I mean, what you're looking for is that off the tee stuff for the most part for him, because he can get up and down. He is a pretty.
And you also on DraftKings in these big contests, you're looking for a boom guy at a lower percentage. So that's why I feel like a Victor Hovland or a Jordan Spieth could potentially end up being a great pick. Could be a terrible pick, but it could be if you're in the millie maker, you're gonna have to have somebody that is low owned that does really well.
Right.
That's how you're gonna win. So.
All right. My top 20. Wait, I forgot who yours was already.
Top 20, Max Homa.
Max Homa, perfect. All right, mine's going to be another guy I don't have any access to his stats.
Gooch?
Hell no. Bryson DeChambeau.
Going back to Bryson?
He did us right at the Masters. I think he's just as much in play here as he was there, if not more so. Bomber. That's really all there is to it. And thick, rough, bomb and gouge type deal. That's right up Bryson's alley. We saw it at Wingfoot. We saw at other places that he's got the ability to just hit the shit out of the ball, and if it's in the rough, he can muscle it out of there. So there's not a ton to talk about with him. I mean, we know what his game is. We know what he's capable of. And again, I don't have access to a ton of his stats from.
He's from what I'm seeing, he is number one in the field, just like last time. Strokes gained off the tee, number one in the field last 36. It's him, Rahm, Scheffler, Rory, the guys that you would kind of expect up at the top there.
I think his price doesn't necessarily reflect that either.
No,
on DraftKings.
Yeah, 9,600. He's actually
that's super reasonable.
I think he's less than Max. I think Max Homa's 97.
Which, if you think about it, makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, it's kind of hard to compare these guys. You don't really know. I guess we only know. I mean, they both were good at the Masters. Hard to compare.
Yeah.
Hard to compare. I don't know.
Well, they just have such a different style of game for the most part. But I think again, it's like you said, the live guys are going to show out. I think they're here for this tournament. They weren't super involved in I think the best finish was Cam Smith at the Masters.
Yeah, maybe. Although
maybe Bryson. Bryson actually finished.
No, I think it was Bryson.
He was up there. He wasn't like up there. I don't think. But
Bryson was 6th.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah.
It was probably him. Cam Smith, I think, did end up coming up late, but maybe just top 10.
Yeah. All right. Well,
he also was 6th. Cam Smith.
So okay, yeah. And again, those are two different games as well. Like Cam Smith is.
Yeah.
He's a scrapper. He's like.
You see that at the Masters sometimes, though. There's ways to get there.
Yeah. Do you think that's in play here?
No, I would lean Bryson style versus Cam Smith style here. I feel like 7,600, par 71, potential wet golf course. I would driving distance is going to be important here.
Yeah.
If you're tied between two guys, you get to your last pick on DraftKings or something, you're like, which guy do I want? Whoever hits it further, pick that guy.
You just go straight to the driving distance stat and then
Yeah.
call it a day.
If you're torn between two guys, whichever one hits it further, pick that guy.
All right. Let's get to the top 40. And again, this is the typical format. Last week we didn't do top 40 because it was a shortened field, and there's a cut this week. And I don't know how many people are in this field, but top 40 market is a little bit more enticing. So
yeah, top 40 market you can play around in this week. I'm going with Corey Connors, minus 120 on DraftKings. I don't really ever play Corey Connors. I'm not like a Corey Connors guy, but he actually was sneaky good last week at the Wells Fargo. Again, was kind of that. I think he like top 20'd. He was like mid tier.
T13.
Yeah, he was fine, but he wasn't amazing. He was never like in contention or anything where they were
No.
showing him hitting shots or anything. Third on approach, strokes gained on approach at the Wells Fargo. That's pretty impressive. Very good. And he's also fifth in this field in greens and regulation percentage, which is going to be a very important stat. He just does a lot of things good, and there's nothing to really hate about his game recently. And I feel like he's kind of a little bit under the radar. He got some other Canadians really playing well, and I feel like he's not really being talked about. And he just consistently shows up. He does not mind a harder event where tee to green matters a lot. And this is going to be an event where tee to green is going to matter a lot. So, yeah, Corey Connors, top 40. I think that's a pretty good number, too. I'm probably going to sprinkle that in, minus 120. I'll probably sprinkle that in with some other guys in the top 40, maybe top 20.
So I was going to pick Corey Connors as my top 40.
Really?
But
Oh, throw the fucking house at it, dude.
he's got a history of playing long, difficult golf course as well, which is, again, it's super weird because it's not like he's this big bomber. He's
just steady.
Yeah, he just, he hits it out there in the fairway. He's an accurate guy, and he's pretty good with his irons. Sometimes much better than pretty good.
He's been actually very good with his irons in the last 36 round, gaining almost a shot per round. That is, let's see,
That's got to be up there.
That's third in this field.
Yeah.
So guy's been hot with the irons.
I want to say that last week on Saturday, maybe during the round Saturday, I did a little top 20 parlay with Corey Connors, Siwoo Kim, and Andrew Putnam. And Andrew Putnam finished T29 and ruined that one. But Corey Connors is he was definitely on my radar. And that's the only reason I know he finished T13 is because I had that bet in. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick another guy.
You're not just going to pick Corey Connors. We're just going to both throw the bag at it.
I mean, I'm going to I'll throw the bag at it, but I need to, obviously when we put the board on Instagram, I want to have my own guy. And here's what I'm going to tell you. You ready? You ready for this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Adam Hadwin.
Oh, God.
Let me tell you something about Adam Hadwin. All right.
You sure? You sure?
I said it earlier in the show. He shot 3 rounds at even par. And the fact that he did the last round at even par after shooting 8 over on Saturday, it just shows me that he was able to kind of recollect himself. The other thing about Adam Hadwin, he went to college at University of Louisville. That's where the course is that's where the tournament is.
There's a University of Louisville.
You know what I meant. I mean, that's technically what it's called if we're gonna go there. But I saw, and I knew that he went to college there, so I wasn't sure like what his full experience, if he was there, for 4 years, whatever. But I did see where he was reconnecting with his college coach and revisiting the campus and kind of getting a little bit of nostalgia going on. So,
it is actually called University of Louisville.
Yeah, no shit.
I thought it was Louisville University. It's all good.
No,
all
see,
good.
look, all right, it's
all good. They're in Louisville, by the way.
They are, yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that he's feeling good about his game, and he even had a statement. I've been watching a lot of the pre-tournament stuff, and one of the reporters asked him about his experience in college and all that stuff, and that's when he kind of talked about reconnecting with with his coach. And the current golf team is actually traveling, so he isn't able to kind of do any of that. But he did visit like the new facilities that they've got, and I just think he's
good vibes.
Good vibes. That's what I'm going with here. Again, elevated events he's performed well at this year. He let me down based on that comparison at the Wells Fargo. I just think he had a bad round. I think he had a bad round on Saturday, And if you look, let's see, Wells Fargo. So even par, which like I said, he shot even par for 3 rounds. If he would have like shot 3 over on that Saturday instead of 8 over, which was, 3 over is not a good score, but that would have been in T34. So it's like
balling.
It's top 40. That's what we're doing here. So I think that he just, he's going to go into this place with good vibes, being that he's doing some reconnecting with some college days and all. Yeah, I mean, it's like, how would you feel if you went to Western and like, we're going to play a golf tournament if you were on the Western golf team?
Reunited and it feels
JT Poston
so
goes
good.
to Cullowhee to play a golf tournament. How do you think he's going to do? He's winning that shit by 10 strokes.
He might win this, dude.
No. Do you want to talk about Poston?
No, I don't have anything on Poston this week. He's probably a massive number, but I don't think it's a good fit for him.
It's not. Honest. It's a tough field. It's a tough course. That's just not his. He's easier field, easier course. That's his ordeal.
Yeah. I'm not going there.
All right, so I'll post the board on Instagram and Twitter and all that good stuff. Same old. Do you got anybody else you want to talk about? Because I feel like this is major week. We can, typically I like to keep these videos around 30 minutes. We're at 41 right now. If you're still listening, we appreciate you very, very much. Make sure you like the video that you're watching on, or like the podcast that you're watching on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. We appreciate the support. We need the support, all that good jazz. Let's see. What else you got this week?
So there's a couple of live guys that I think are going to go a little under-owned this week.
Terrell Hatton.
I think that there's 2 guys for me that I think are going to
Gooch.
go under-owned. Shut it. And it is Abraham Answer and Dustin Johnson.
I didn't even know Abraham Answer was in this field, if that tells you anything.
Oh, yeah, dude, he's in there. See, that's perfect. Nobody's going to pick
That's
him.
what I'm saying. And I'm an Answer guy. I used to pick him all the time when he was on the actual PGA
Yeah.
tour.
So he, his last 3 live events, which again is hard to quantify, but his last 3 live events, 9th, 10th. He's been in contention. He's playing decent golf. From what I remember about Answer, he was a tough golf course player. He didn't mind it being tougher. He's not the longest hitter, but he hits it longer than you think he hits it. He's a shorter fellow, but he can still rip it.
Shorter fella.
Yeah. He's
Is that on the stat profile? Just
No.
a little guy.
He's a little guy, but he can get it out there. He's a good golfer. Yeah, mostly because I don't feel like he's going to be very owned, and he's been playing decent golf. All right, so next guy is Dustin.
Just real quick. I just wanted to pull up some Answer stuff. Pretty good history. I mean, obviously these tournaments take places in different locations, but you want to see history of like ability to compete in these types of events. And his history with the PGA Championship, have you looked at that?
No.
2019 T16, 2020 T43, 2021 T8, 2022 T9. Miscut in 23, but
Yeah, I mean he's just a solid golfer. I'm trying to find his price.
3 top 20s out of 5 starts at the PGA Championship. That's pretty solid there. And are you looking for his price?
Oh, dude, totally have botched this. I don't even think he's in the field. Why did I see him? I literally saw a number on him. All right. Forget I said that. Totally botched that. I swear I saw like FanDuel or somebody had a number on him.
Wait a second.
Don't worry about what I just said. Rattled. Dustin Johnson.
Oh, what you meant to say was Andy Ogletree.
I meant to say Matthew Pavone.
Dustin just
Johnson.
Take everything you said about Abraham Answer, apply it to Matthew Pavone, and bet him to finish in the top
Dustin
20.
Johnson, $8,000. He is in the field. I am sure of it.
I actually know that for a fact.
$8,000 in DraftKings. His last couple events, his last event, I believe he finished 7th. Gonna be pretty overlooked. I feel like he missed the cut at the Masters. I don't know if you remember that. He was like a pretty popular pick at the Masters too. His price was not like through the roof, and people were like, "Dude, this is a layup." Dustin Johnson at whatever it was, like 8,500 or whatever. They're like, he's for sure gonna make it. No, he was bad. Again, maybe the pressure got to him. The live guys did not show out at the Masters. He gets redemption here. He obviously, we know, hits the ball a pretty long way. He's getting a little bit older, but he still ain't old.
No.
$8,000. I think he's going to be a little bit sneaky. I feel like the people that picked him at the Masters, maybe feel a little bit burned by him and won't go back to him. So yeah, Dustin Johnson I think is a great DraftKings play. I'm not going to bet him to win or anything, but $8,000 DraftKings is for me.
I would agree that he's pretty sneaky, but he's not nearly as sneaky as picking a guy that's not even in the field.
Listen, you know me, man. I like to go off the board. I want the guy nobody's picking.
I'm so glad we didn't spend more time talking about it.
And let me tell you,
I mean, that was at least a minute and a half, though.
Let me tell you, ain't nobody picking Abraham Hansen. But I'm on him.
All right.
Getting sneaky with it.
I want to talk about one guy, and I have zero feel for him. I used to pick him quite a bit when he was on the PGA Tour, and it's Taylor Gooch. I mean, obviously we've seen him kind of come out and spew some things at the mouth that you're just like, dude, what are you talking about? Got the special invite, and he's either going to miss the cut or he's going to compete, and he's got to compete if he wants to have any shred of dignity.
9th, 26th, 4th in his last 3 on Live.
26th, 4th. Where was 4th at?
I think it was the most recent one. What was it? Singapore.
What did can you see, like, you can't see those events?
I think it was like Singapore, Adelaide, and
Miami.
Okay,
well, Miami. I think Trump Doral has
he was 9th. If I wrote this down correctly, he was 9th. I'm not second guessing myself.
It's Taylor Gooch in the field
on everything.
I think Live Miami, which is Trump Doral, I think that shows up as a comp course when you look.
You're the comp course guy.
It's
I don't know.
4th on the list of comp courses.
No, what's number 1? Just I'm curious.
Club de Golf Chapultepec.
You're just making shit up.
No,
now.
I swear to God, that's what it is.
You're just making shit up.
I don't know what tournament this is, but it's literally.
Is it a PGA tournament?
Club de Golf Chapultepec. How about next on the list? Number 2, Quail Hollow.
Okay.
95.
I've heard of that place.
95.5 comparative rate, which is pretty darn high.
So Rory by a milli.
Maybe. I don't know. I've got no Rory as of right now. I don't know if I'm going to have any Rory. I don't have any Scotty either, so.
I'm going to start a lot of lineups with Rahm. I'm going to skip Rory and skip Scotty. And we'll see. Going to save a lot of money doing that, though. Like Scotty, 13,200. Rory, 12,000. And then Rahm, 11,400.
That's fair.
You can save a lot of bucks. Although the pricing is very wide this week. I think it goes all the way down to 5,500.
Yeah, I know it's in the 5s. They went back to the structure of 13,000+ for Scotty and then down to the 5K.
Scratch that. It goes down to maybe 5,000. I'm saying 5,000. So you can go way down the board if you want to. I will not.
What's down there?
Nothing good. I will say that there is one guy that
Is it Doug Gim?
Do have a little faith in. It's Abraham Answer. No.
Doug Gim is in this field, by the way, and I actually don't hate him. But
for me, it's going to be Alejandro Tosti.
Just because he hits the shit out of the ball off the tee.
5,500. The stats really kind of check out for him for a guy that's stupid cheap. He's got a pretty good, where was it? I don't know. He's good. He's dope.
He's kind of a character.
Where was it, dude? I think it was off the tee or something like that. He
smashes the ball off the tee. It's got to be.
And he's been playing pretty decent. He missed the cut on the number at wherever the course was that they went they went off where the cut was like 5 under or 6 under.
Byron Nelson.
Byron. He missed the cut on the number. So, and then before that at Heritage, I think he was in contention, wasn't he? It was down the stretch. He was like right there with a chance to win for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Toasty playing good golf, and he can rip it, and I feel like you're going to need to be able to rip it at this course. So, at 5,500, if I had to go down there, he would be a good pick for me. Gaining 0.65 strokes off the tee per round in his last 36 rounds. Putting is a joke, though. If he could just neutral putt, that'd be a great week.
Dude, his first round scoring is ridiculous. I think, yeah, I don't know. He shoots a lot of like 65s first round, 66. I mean, but yeah, he tends to on the weekend not do so great. RBC, he was in the mix and then shot 73 round 4, but I don't know
Yeah,
if it's
33rd,
yeah.
and then finished second at Houston. Maybe I'm thinking of Houston. He was right there down the stretch with Scotty.
It was Houston.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what you were thinking of.
Yeah.
And
He was
so
like he had
that's
the
how I know.
lead. He had the lead. I think
That's
at
how
one
I
point.
know that he hits the ball so damn far is because during that tournament he was obviously up there and they kept showing him and like watching him swing off the tee is insane.
Yeah, he was right there. Is that the one that Akshay won? Akshay won Houston. No,
Steven Yeager.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he tied with Scotty for second. I think maybe Scotty missed the little 4.5.
It was like
footer
a
or
5 foot
whatever.
putt. Yep.
Yeah.
Back to the old Scotty ways.
Yeah.
By the way, I did see a report of Scotty missing the fairway on one of the easiest fairways to hit during a practice round at this course. So
fade him. What's the kid do to him? Does he have baby swag? Like it's gonna be a good thing, or is it like, no, dude, I'm catching up on sleep? I mean, if we're gonna go into these narratives that are ridiculous, we might as well go into that one.
I can't imagine that he slept very much lately. But
I don't know.
You know, he had a neck injury at the Players and shot like 8 under on the final day or whatever the stupid ass round was. It cost me money from the Wyndham Clark ticket. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to get into a lot of the stuff like that when it comes to. I mean, we've been dealing with the Scotty baby situation since when? Was it before the Masters?
I think the Masters might have been where it like first came up.
Yeah,
but that was people just like grasping at anything.
Well, yeah, and that's why I don't even really want to like pay attention to any of it. It's like, okay, he's still the best golfer in the world.
I think that's the best strategy with all this, with the injury stuff, with Matsuyama and these other guys,
pretend that everybody's
the
at
baby stuff and the Spieth stuff. I think it's just best to just like, dude, look at the numbers, pick who you want to pick, and just try and ignore the noise. It's literally these people's job to try and find something to write about.
Yeah.
So that's why you see it on Twitter or whatever. So.
All right. Well, that's all I've got. I'll try to get a little bit more. I want to get better at like once we post the board, if we find like new information or anything like that, I want to get like, tweets or stuff out there, Instagram stories where we're bringing in new information that we find.
I think we're going to be one of the first podcasts out there with the Rory news in their podcast.
I doubt it. I guarantee somebody's already posted that.
I mean, it only came out like an hour ago?
Yeah, but there's been grumblings apparently. Like people inside certain circles knew, they just didn't report it because it wasn't public. So now that it's out, that they probably already had some information ready to go. But either way, yeah, let's just try and get. I'll get this board up, and then if you've got anything that comes to you, we'll get it posted, and same for me. So. We appreciate you guys tuning in like always. If you've got questions or anything, we've had some people reach out to us about, tailing the bets and whatnot. Maybe they've cooled off a little bit because we're back-to-back weeks, not so hot. But I feel good about this week. I feel like this is the week we get back on track.
If you're not hot, you're due.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you go through stretches. Everybody's like, oh, these guys are done, blah, blah. No, nobody's saying that about us. But I'm just saying, like, I've seen it and from all these bettors that I follow on Twitter and stuff, because I bet obviously a lot of NBA and stuff like that. And it's like when somebody gets on a cold streak, they get just torn apart. And it's like, you can't just be hot all the time, or that's just not how any of this works. No. So this is a get right week, and I plan to do so, and I think we will here. So. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, rate the podcast, like the podcast, follow the podcast, whatever it is. If you check the link in the bio, you'll find a link tree that sends you to all of the different sports books where you can use deposit matches and bonus bets. Make sure you guys take advantage of that if you're new to sports betting, especially in North Carolina, because that's where it just came legal most recently. And we'll hopefully we're back on track this week, and we plan to make some money. That's the goal here.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.